Hi guys, welcome to Assetto Corsa, where today we're going to be checking out the awesome touring car mod from the guys over at VRC. Welcome then to the 1997 British Touring Car Championship for this round here at Donington Park National Circuit. The race is about to get underway, but before we get there, let's check out today's grid order. Alan Menu puts his Renault on pole position with Frank Baylor alongside him in the Audi, and then it's Jason Plato and Ricard Rydell who round out the top four in their Renault and Volvo. Then we have James Thompson and Gabriele Tarquini, the Honda duo in P5 and 6, then it's Bincliffe and Leslie's Nissan Primera. Then we have Harvey, Burt, Reed, Cleland, Radicic, Warwick, Hoy, Watts, Brooks, Gravitt, Galley, Neal. Then we have Brumstead and Evans, who unfortunately had a mechanical issue in qualifying and is going to have to start this race. From the back of the grid is Ash Evans, so we'll see how things go for him, but without further ado, let's go down to the grid. Here we are then in our super touring car, definitely not a Ford Mondeo, as we wait for those lights to go out, and away we go then for a little bit of nostalgia here in this VRC touring car, and it's like the parting of the Red Sea there at the start. Couple of AI get a bit bogged down around each other and we just send it straight through the gap, so up into P16 already. We go up the inside of one of those kind of Vauxhall modelled cars, and that's Derek Warwick there, and we go side by side then as we go into the crane of curves. Very careful around here, the car. Look at that, Warwick getting it up on two wheels, but as I was saying, the car very kind of twitchy through there. If you're not careful, the rear will just go around, so you've got to be very careful on basically any braking zone really, where you're not exactly in a straight line. As we look up inside one of the Fords, that could be Hoy or Radicic. Either way, we've got one in front of us and one next to us now, as it's getting all a bit argy-bargy between us there. And that's what touring car racing is all about, as we go chasing after this next Ford then, or not quite Ford, definitely not Ford. And yeah, we just send it up the inside of this kind of final chicane. Side by side, he kind of just hopped over that second curb, and that's let us get the better exit. And we're going to run down into Redgate for the second time then, but I'm far too late on the brakes. A big lock-up. We tagged the Nissan Primera there and go off ourselves, and yeah, that were a proper touring car overtake. But we've got a bit of clean air now. We're already up into P11, but yeah, the next pack in front of us is a bit of distance, so give me a little bit of a chance to talk about this mod then. And it's absolutely amazing. I love it. It's very nostalgic for me, particularly this car. I've thrown together a couple of other mods as well that I had lying around, so we've got a couple of cars from Patrick Marek as well, and they really go together with this VRC pack. You get 3 cars in the pack. You get a definitely not Ford Mondeo, a definitely not Vauxhall Vectra, and a definitely not Honda Accord. Yeah, they have their own names for them. They didn't want to call them by the actual names, obviously, but they handle exactly how you'd expect one of these kind of cars to handle. All the weight at the front, power understeer, lift off oversteer, very floaty kind of rear end. If you're not careful, you really have to make sure you've slowed the thing down enough before you turn in, otherwise that rear's just gonna come round on you, and that's kind of how you'd expect one of these things to behave really, and it's a lot of fun. I think this is in this format with the kind of the old, I say old, the super touring car era. I think this is the best way to enjoy touring cars. is I've kind of based this grid on the 1997 season. That's the season that really got me into racing, actually, with a little known game called Toka Touring Cars. And yeah, for me it were absolutely amazing that I could drive my dad's car on that game, which just so happened to be a Ford Mondeo, and that's why we're driving this today. And we're driving from the helmet cam of Ash Evans, not Jord Evans. He's a modern day Formula 1 driver, so you know, this was his old man back in the day, kind of infamous touring car driver Ash Evans, kind of creating his own little Jord Drives multiverse. But anyway, multiverses aside, let's go up the inside of the Volvo. A little bit of a contact on the exit, but again, that's touring cars. If someone's in your way, you just barge them out the way. Can't quite see where he is though, the proximity arrow's there, and we hop over that curb. That's upset the rear, and can we just save it? Just about managed to save it. It's yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. We hopped over the curb, and with no kind of weight over that rear, it just went round. And they are quite easy cars to save. You just bang on a load of opposite lock and smash the throttle. It's kind of the complete opposite way of driving compared to a rear wheel drive car. You kind of have to get your head around it. But that is how these things go, and it's a lot of fun once you kind of get the hang of it. But we're up in P12 then. We're halfway through the race as we're coming on to finish lap 4. As we come into the final chicane, we're going to see if we can get a decent exit out here onto the back of this Ford. Once again, I'm not sure if it's Hoy or Radicic. Let's just say it's Hoy for the time being. We'll go up the inside then, down into third. I've got this thing geared as short as you possibly can. But there, you see, I tried to put the power down and it just pulls the front nose out wide. Lots of power understeer. And then that other Ford can get the switchback move on us as we, a little bit of counter steer in there, and we give him a bit of a bonk on the rear there, and just to let him know we're quicker and we're gonna get it past eventually. But we come up then on the run up to McLean's, I think this corner's called, if I remember my Donington corner names. Send it up the inside, another very tricky braking zone, that corner, because the car's not entirely straight as you go to hit the brakes, so you kind of have to balance it with a little bit of throttle as we come round Coppice then on the run into the back straight. And it looks like we have got a little bit of a gap now to the cars behind, and we can go chasing after this little pack in front of us. It looks like there's a Peugeot in there, and speaking of the Peugeot, it's bouncing around all over the place. But yeah, we've got a Peugeot up there, the Volvo. I think there's an Audi up there as well, so maybe that's Bincliffe. We'll have to see as we charge down once again into Redgate. And nice and easy, we actually get a pretty decent exit that time, and we can go and see about picking a couple of these cars off as we come into the Craner curves. Be very, very careful as once again car twitching there, getting it down into fourth for the old hairpin. We get a really good exit out of there compared to the AI as we go side by side with the Volvo then. I assume it's Rydell. It could be Burt, I think's the other Volvo driver in this season. But we look up Bincliffe as well up his inside, where there's nothing quite there. It looks like we're just about pulled ahead of the Volvo as we go around Coppice. Then the Volvo comes back around us outside, and another bit of a tap there, proper touring car stuff as we're on the back straight then on the run down into the chicane. Who's going to be later on the brakes here? I think it's just going to be us. No, the Volvo pulls back a little bit as we go side by side through the chicane, squeeze him onto that curb on the exit. That's going to ruin his exit. He's going to have no grip, and you can see there we can just pull ahead on the charge down into Redgate for the penultimate time as we go on the brakes then down into third, just hug that apex. And the Volvo's going to get a little bit of a better exit than us, I think, but we just managed to get ahead. Fuel light on, but we should have enough to get us to the end as we go around the Craner curves then. Once again, the car getting a little bit twitchy around there, got to be very careful. But around the old hairpin we just carry so much more speed through there compared to the AI, so we're on the back of Bincliffe then in the Audi and we're going to see if we can throw it up the inside of him easy as you like. But no, he's coming back at us. We go side by side then, but he just gets up onto that curb, doesn't quite have the grip. But the AI like to try it back round the outside here, and he does. Tags us on the way through, and we took back into the slipstream then. We've got the Volvo, he's coming back into the party as well. As we go into the braking zone then, we're a lot later than Bincliffe. We go side by side, hop over the curb, which claim the racing line, but Bincliffe still up the inside in that four-wheel drive Audi. I think it was still four-wheel drive in 97, and I think, were it 99 when they banned the four-wheel drive? I can't remember. Anyway, either way, we're in front of him now, and we are gonna be in the top 10. We're in P9 actually, as we're on the final lap then, the last lap, and we're gonna see if we can make any more positions. I very much doubt it. I think the other guys are just a little bit too far in front. I think that's a Honda up there as we go really wide coming out of the old hairpin. I think my tyres are either worn or overheating, probably overheating a little bit. The front tyres in these cars just get absolutely abused as we come round then. McLean's for the last time into Coppice, down into third gear, clip the apex nicely, feed the power in. You don't want to stamp on the throttle, otherwise it'll just pull the car out wide. As we're on the run down then into the final chicane here at Donington Park National Circuit, and this has been a massive nostalgia trip for me, and a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.